Hello again and welcome to this Quilling Guild tutorial. I feel sure you're going to enjoy it. This one's all about X-lines. Not a very well known technique and still thought by some to be not truly quilling, because it's one of those techniques where we see predominantly the side of the side of the strip, not the edge of the strip. But anyway, I love doing them, and I'm sure you will too. X-lines, yeah. So the first thing you're going to need when you do X-lines is a comb of some sort, or anyway, something with prongs. There are various ways of doing this. Here's a pet comb, obviously, that's quite useful, and I think this is an afro comb, so with wider apart prongs, also useful. I have multiples of these for whatever I'm doing with them. Another pet comb, nice long one this for length, if I do want to do something a bit longer. And this one was actually made for me very kindly by somebody. This is an onion holder, also has prongs. A little bit lethal because it's obviously pointed. You're meant to hold your onion down like this and cut between the prongs. But yeah, that's got nice long prongs, so that's good as well. And then this one, which is a knit comb of some sort, and its prongs are very, very close together for doing very delicate work. And then finally, my favourite one at the moment, could change, but my favourite one at the moment is this one. I'm ready to start with it. It has wider prongs at one side and narrow ones at the other. And what I've done with it is I've written the numbers of the prongs along here. I know that it has 19 prongs, so just to help me, I've stuck some sticky tape here and written on 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and I know the last one's 19. It's just going to help me know what I'm doing. So the next thing you're going to need, obviously, is a quilling strip. And for this comb, 3mm wide and 2mm wide strips are going to be best if I'm using these prongs. You can use wider if your prongs are further apart. You might get away with 5mm in here. Might be a bit tricky. So 3 and 2 are going to be best for this one. I know it works on that side as well. And the first thing I'm going to do is what I nearly always do, which is to put a small dot of glue on the end of here. Oh, I should tell you, by the way, this is a two-tone strip. I know you can do it with non-two-tone, but I happen to know that two-tone works particularly well for this particular technique. It doesn't always enhance your X-line, it depends which X-line you're doing, but this time I feel sure it does. And I'm going to start it with a little dot of glue on the tip here, small as I can make it, so that I can make a really little loop on the end. Yeah. So when I'm using two-tone and I'm making this little loop, I always try to go light side of the two-tone to light side, because I know that if I put glue on the darker side of two-tone, it takes twice as long for the PVA to dry. Make sure you're using good quality PVA, by the way, and one of those fine tips is a good idea in whatever form you're doing it. A fine tip is a good idea because you're going to be doing some lines of gluing, so that's best. I'm now seriously hoping that when I put this on here, it won't pop open. So for this technique, we start on the top prong. It's possible to do X-lines from the bottom up. It's possible also, because if you're left-handed, you can do it that way around. I want you to be comfortable. Once you get going with them, I'm sure you'll find your best way. So I've put this loop on the top prong and the strip is coming down the back. So the next thing to do for this technique is to go under prong 16 to the front. So now you can see that I know that that's 15, so this must be 16. If you don't have numbers here, it's 3 prongs down for this technique. Okay, and then I'm going to go up and over prong 18 on the right to the back. So when I'm working on the right, I can just slide this strip on. It's not going to be as easy when I'm going to the left. But over prong 18 on the right for this one to the back. I'm now going to come under prong 14, which is that one, to the front, and over prong 16 on the left. Now, this one, it's quite important here. Like I say, this one's a bit trickier to get, for me to point something out. However you do this technique, because you can use different numbers of prongs. You can make these loops smaller by only using 2. You can even use 1, you can use 5, you know, it doesn't matter. But this bit's crucial. This bit is really, really important, that you're using that same prong there as the one you came under here. It doesn't work if you don't do that. Okay, so now I'm just basically going to repeat what I've done before, and I'll come down here. If you want to count that, that's another 2 prongs down from the one that I used there. So that one's been used, 1, 2, and under that one. Now remember, when you go up and over, it must go over the same one as you had before. There. See, that's the same one. And then you can just repeat this technique, hopefully. I'm holding it a bit strangely. Sorry about that. A bit so that you can see what I'm doing. Over there, on that side. And then over this one, the left. So I'm sure that some of you are now racing ahead. Oops, went in the wrong one. Racing ahead and doing this until you get to the bottom. A word of warning: if you have got to the bottom already, don't take it off. Stay there. Don't rush too far ahead. You'll be very cross if you take it off. You'll be very cross with yourself. I also want to point out that the further down you go with any X line, the easier it is, because your strip is shorter, obviously, as you go, and it becomes easier to manipulate. X lines can be a bit tricky. The strip can get twisted and all sorts of things, but I really think they're worth it. I love doing them. So I'm going over here, over this one, and again here, and through there. So I'm coming down 2 and up 3 every time, always on that one. And because I would like this end to look like that end, I'm just going to come to round this final one and go to the front like so. So that would be the length of the comb finished. So having got to the bottom of the comb, we now have to apply a securing strip. Almost all X lines need a securing strip of some sort, and so I'm going to place one on, and I could use, in this case, I could use the strip that we've already got here, so I haven't torn it off yet or glued it down, If I turn this particular X line over, you should always look at the other side. When you're inventing an X line, before you do anything, look at the other side, because it's quite possible that you will like the other side more than the side that you that you just made, which is really a lovely thing about X lines. I'm finding that all the time, and you know, you can choose either side, whichever you want to do. And because I have my strip ready at the bottom here, I might as well use that one, be the other side of it, or I can come to the back, glue this down and apply another strip of a different colour, doesn't matter. See this one, I'll look like that. So it's, or this one, this is going to be how it looks, but we're going to just go straight up there. So this is where a line of glue is a good idea, and that's a nice fine line going up your X line, the middle of your X line. Will hold everything in place, hopefully. There we go. Glue it there. And of course, wait for that to dry. You absolutely must wait for the whole thing to dry before you slide it off the comb. I'll just put that down because I don't trust that it will be dry, and it's terrible if it isn't. So this one here, you can do these in various colours. That's the other side. I chose to do the other side for that one, and this one. But you can do them in different colours and different widths. So this is done with 2mm strips and glued down the back like so. This one is, I think I used only a very few strips, maybe prongs, only maybe 2 prongs, more 2mm ones. And you know, just really what is good about this is you can just experiment really with what you're doing, and different colours, different prongs, different ways of doing it. It's really a very good idea to experiment. I'm hoping this is dry now, so carefully slide off. And then I can cut the end off, or tear the end off. I'll tear it off this time, so that your X line is finished, whichever way you want to do it. And see, because it's two-tone, I can see the paler green showing through the darker green on the top. So it's a very nice X line, that one. So I just wanted to show you this small variation. Remember that I told you you can use different number of prongs, and the whole thing does not have to be symmetrical. So what we've got here is I've come from the top prong as usual, and on the right hand side I've been using 4 prongs, but on the left hand side only 2. So it goes 4 and 2, 4 and 2. And you get an asymmetrical thing, but it makes it really interesting. So that obviously, and then another one that we have here is similar sort of idea, which is, I'm coming, I like this one particularly. I'm using, I think, 4 prongs here, and then 2 and 2 and 4. If you can see that. 2 and 2 and 4, 2 and 2 and 4. So you can change the number of prongs you use to add interest to your X line. So the X line that we just made is the very first one that started me off, and I don't know where I found it. I certainly didn't find it on an antique. So it must be something modern. I might have invented it entirely myself, I'm not sure. But what happens always, and I hope you will do the same, is you see something originally and then you can start adapting it and making it different in lots of different ways. So this next one is, I've gone to 2mm strip, and it's a very small adaptation of the last one that we did. I've made my little loop in the end, as before, and just like before, I'm going to start on the top prong and put my little loop over the end here and go down to the back. So I'm on top prong to the back. I'm now going to go under prong 17. So that for you, if you haven't put numbers down here, that's under the third prong down, 1, 2, 3, and I'm bringing the strip to the front. I'm now going to go up and over prong 18, which is the second to top one. Yeah. So this is very similar to what we did before, but now comes the difference. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap my strip around prong 18. So it'll come to the front once, to the back, and then so that I have a little extra thing happening just there. And this is what we're going to repeat. So I will now come down and go under prong 60 to the front. And that's there's the prong that I just used. I've just come down one more prong, like so. And now I'll go over here. You remember that you have to, when you're doing this technique, it has to be the same prong there that you use here. So that will secure it in place. But we are doing something different, aren't we? So we're going to wrap around this prong now. If you can see that. I'm holding it slightly awkwardly so that you can see, which makes me look rather cack-handed, but that's, I hope you can still see what I'm doing. So I've come over this one as we would have done before, but because this is a new variation, I'm going to wrap around that one. Okay, now I'm on the back, and you can see it almost looks like it's got little knots here and there, and that just is a repeat of the same thing. So down the prong, up and over, and before you come down again, wrap around. Oops, wrap around and to the back. Okay, and again to down the next prong down. It's always more difficult on the left, of course, because you've got to slot your strip through rather than just slide it on from the end. But it works just the same way. And each time I'm doing this, I'm going to go around and make that little knot on there. This is a really nice technique. I'm really happy to find this one because I think it looks great. And especially with the two-tone, you can see the darker blue is showing through behind. You can just keep on going for as long as you want to go. You don't have to do them, you know, really long if you don't want to. Obviously you don't have to use the whole of your comb. You can stop if you only want a shorter bit of it. You can make longer ones and then cut them down, but I don't think it's as successful. So I normally decide on the length that I need, and then I'll do it that long. So for example, this tree has got a few X lines on it, and I sort of knew how long I wanted those X lines to be to make the tree. So I obviously didn't do the whole length of the comb, just the amount that I needed. But you know, if you're just at the moment just playing and practicing, then and making it and having fun with it, you might want to carry on down, right down to the bottom. I think I'll do a couple more just to show you. So I'm down here, I've come down to this prong below the one that I used. I'm going over only one prong this time to the back. And oh, this is typical of what happens when, yeah, with X lines, when you can feel very intimidated by the strip itself because it refuses to do what you want. But it, you know, I do think it's worth the effort because they are so lovely. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. And like I said before, life gets easier the shorter the strip is, because it behaves itself better when it's shorter. But yeah, so again, before I take it off, I'm going to look at the back, and the back looks okay. I might use that for something, but I'm thinking maybe I prefer the front. So this time I will glue this strip down here. Put a little bit of glue there to finish it off. And I might attach a different strip to be the securing strip for this one, and maybe I'll use 3mm for it. But in the same way, line of glue down the back. Right, so put your strip on, whatever your strip is going to be. Oops, come on, of course. Doesn't matter where you place it, because you can always cut it down later. That could have been a 2 or a 3mm securing strip, whichever. Okay, and then you will have your finished thing. So I won't take it off, of course, because it may not be dry, and it's a tragedy if you take it off before it's dry. So they can, you know, you can look like this, and this one was green on one side and white on the other, purple and lilac, red and pink, all different kinds of, and this one's very fine strips, depends on how you want it to look. That's the other side, I believe. Yes, I decided to do the other side for that one, which is also quite nice. So these securing strips on that side, but it all depends what you want. So now some X lines, you know, I said that X lines generally need a securing strip, and sometimes that securing strip needs to be put on first rather than at the end, as we've seen so far. So that's what I'm going to do for this next X line. I think you can probably see again I've made a loop, and for my securing strip it's 3mm wide. Again, you can do different widths for this, but you know, really it depends on the effect that you want. So I'm going to come down the back and over the top here, and I'm going to pull that as tight as I dare. I don't want to break the strip, obviously, but the firmer I can make it, the better, because it then will be less likely to slide off, which is a bit of a pain when it does that. Hope it's not going to be doing that for me when I'm demonstrating to you. So this is the securing strip for my next X line, and I pulled it as tight as I could, and obviously wait for the glue to dry, and then cut it off on the back. And that was 3mm wide paper. strip, I'm now going to use 2mm wide to make the actual X line. I'm going to come from the back to the front, so instead of making a loop this time, I'm just going to glue that onto the back leg, and you see that it's just onto the back as it is like that. So I'll put a little dot of glue there so that I can then tuck it behind and glue it firmly from the back. I'm coming through the first gap here. Here's the top gap, and I'm just bringing the strip through there. This particular X line, by the way, doesn't really benefit from being two-tone, so you can save your, precious two-tones and not use it for this one. So I'm coming through the top gap here, and I'm going to cross over to the left-hand side. Cut that off. I think it's probably dry, so we don't want to see it from the front. There we are. So I'm now going to cross over here. I'm really almost turning the strip over in order to do that. So I'm crossing over to the left-hand side, and I'm going to go through gap 16, which I'll show you. You may not have that. So it's there. Through there. So that one is that gap 16, 18, 17, 16 is not. The one above is gap 16. That one. Yeah. There we go. It's 16 because I've got, there's the prongs here at the gaps. So this is gap 18, 17, 16. I'm just going to come, if you don't have numbers here, you came through the top gap. If you count two more down, that's where we're going off to the back. I'm now going to, from the back, come back through gap 15 to the front, like so. Is that right? 18, 17, 16, yes, this is 15. I'm going to go to the front. I think I maybe should show you what the finished thing will look like. We're actually making X's like this. So there are various ways of doing this. There are other ways of putting crosses down your securing strip. I've tried lots of them. I just like this one the best, so I'll show you how this one is done. What we'll do is we're going all the way down and all the way back up again, just so you know. So again, I'll come down 3 of these. I think that's right. Yeah. So I do now know, I can tell now what I'm doing, because this and that one, these diagonal lines will be actually parallel with each other. So now through that one, and digress again, almost turning over. I'll just show you the back at this stage. And the back is similar, but the lines across are shallower. Again, you can make crosses down your strip in different ways, and also you can do them at different sizes. So you could use different gaps to get a different effect. Use different prongs to get a different effect. But this is how I'm going to do it. Down here. No glue so far. I was at one point telling people to put a line of glue on the back, just to make sure that this was working, but I've since then changed my mind, and I feel that we should do this in a different way. If you keep putting glue on the back, yes, it does secure the strip, but it kind of gets on your fingers as well. So it's really better, I think, to not do it that way. So I apologise if I've misled people with a way that's not as helpful as it might be. I'm going to come down to the bottom of this securing strip, but it's kind of up to you which you want to do. I'm then going to work my way up again. I don't think I've got room for another one, so I shall be crossing straight over and then working my way all the way back up to the top. And this time, of course, you don't have to worry about which gap you're going into, because you're making crosses, so you know fine well which one you should be going into to make it do a nice cross. Okay, you see what I mean? So up to here and down there. This is probably one of the easiest parts of an X line, because it's obvious and very satisfying watching those crosses appear as you make them. Yeah. Sorry if I look a bit cack-handed. It's because I would normally work with my hands. I'm sure you do. Normally work with my left hand behind the comb like this, but it holds everything in place a lot easier. But I feel that you can't see as well what I'm doing if I do that, so that's why my hand is down here, and that's making me a bit less confident about things. And I may look a bit as if I can't do it, but there we go, so that you can see what's going on. A nice easy X line, and actually a true X line, because basically it's got X's on it. There we go. Back up to the top. Okay, and then of course when I get to the top I'll go on the back. Always look at the back and see whether you like the back better. I think I may have made a mistake there. Look, I think I came down too far here. Again, a bit difficult for me to see. Now I can see it on the back. If I was doing this again, I would take those out and do it, because I didn't put any glue on there, so I could undo it and start again if I know I've made a mistake there. But I won't do it this time. I wonder if you noticed me do that and you were shouting at the screen. You've gone through the wrong gap, Jane. Never mind. Okay, so you get the idea. The way to do the crosses is, I think, the easiest way. All the way down and then all the way back up again. And again, we've got variations on this, so you can put your crosses really close together, like that one. You can go all the way down and all the way back, and then in one colour, blue here, and then you can do it again all the way down and all the way back in another colour. So these are blue and green and blue and green and blue and green, so you can do it twice if you like. The longer and shorter ones, narrower strips and so on. So there are loads of variations on these. True X line, this particular one is actually an X line. So of course, before you remove this, I don't think it won't fall apart exactly, but I do think we need a bit more security for the back. And so I've been recently telling people, put another, an extra securing strip down the back, so that everything stays in place. So that could be a 2 or it could be a 3mm wide strip. I think this is actually the better way to make things look good and remain safe. So that would stay on there until dry, as I've shown you before, and then you'd be able to slide it off. So now I'm going to show you this X line, which I like a great deal. Looks almost Art Nouveau. One that I like particularly. And again I've started with my securing strip. I've used the full length of the comb, but you don't have to. That was in 3mm, this is 2mm, and I've secured it on the back with glue, you can see there. You don't have to use two-tone paper, I did here, but you don't have to. I don't know that it particularly looks any better with two-tone paper. So it's secured on the back, and I've come through the top gap here, just below the top prong, to the front. I'm now going to go just below prong 15 on the left of that securing strip. There, on the left. So, what is gap 15? If you haven't got numbers here, below prong 15. So, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, that's, I'm working across 5 prongs down to there to start with. This time, instead of going in the top gap on the right, I'll go in the next one down. And when I go over to the left, it's going to be through the same gap on the left that I had before. So this one's through that second gap down. There. No, it's gone through the third one, hasn't it? That's the way they go. Second one down there. There we go. I put a little dot of glue here all the time, just there. Another way to secure it is going to be to put an extra securing strip on the back at the end. If you like to put a little dot of glue there, you could do. So that's my second loop, and then the final one for this section will go through there. So each time on the right we're coming down one more over one, the prong below, but every time we go through the one on the left, it's the same one. Hopefully you can see that. And through here, and having gone there, if you want to put a little bit of glue there on that strip, you can, or leave it on to the end, or both, depending on how secure you want it to be. So we've finished our first one, and so you can see that first section is finished. So we now have to come down to the next one. So in this case I've come horizontally across. So it's the same gap, but it's on the right this time. So across the back horizontally, and now we're going down. As I said before, we're working between 1, 2, 3, 4 prongs as we make each section. So I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and that looks to me like it is underneath prong 11, if you do have numbers written on your comb. Oops. Straight across, I'm going to have to put my finger at the back. Prong 11 on the back. And we'll know when I get there, is it correct, because is it parallel with the first one here? I think it is. I can now come down on that side again. So I'm coming through to the right, but this time it's on a lower prong, but when I go onto the left it's the same place. I put a little bit of glue there, don't have to, but helps to secure it, and then again the one below, over there, through the same one, there we go, and then again just as before, on the back I'm going to come horizontally across to start my next one. and I'm working over, we worked out 4, didn't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, so it'll be below prong 7 on this side. Go for those of you who do have put numbers. I do suggest you do. It helps you to understand what's going on. Helps you to be sure of where you're actually going. Helps with that. Coming through here again. So every time I'm on the right, it's on a prong lower, and when I'm on the left, it's the same one. Do these sections. Just wondering if I'm going to get a third one out of here. I might do. Directly across the back. Yes, I will. Oh, sorry, a fourth one. I might. Yes, I will get a fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Takes me to underneath prong 3, I believe. I'll just check it's the same. Yes, so we're parallel there. Come over here. A little bit of glue there. If it helps. And to the back. To the back, and then the final one will come across there and onto the back. Now I will then, like I've said before, I probably will put an extra securing strip on the back just to be absolutely sure that I'm doing the right. Doesn't want to go. That I'm making absolutely sure that it's safe on the back. So this is what the back looks like. Yeah, do you like it? Maybe you like this one more. That goes across there, doesn't it? Do you like that more? Perhaps you do. It's interesting, isn't it? It's another one. And you might decide, well, I think I'm going to stick with that one. It's up to you. I'm just going to fix this one here. With a little spot of glue, tear or cut it off. And that's going to be the back of mine, but it could be the other way around. And to be absolutely sure, I'm just going to put a final securing strip along the back as I've shown you before, with a line of glue along here, and then a final strip just to make sure it stays in place. And then it will end up looking like that. Again, you can do a few variations of this, but you know, you could put them sort of further apart. I don't know if that one, if you like. You can also do this one if you can work out how to do it, where these are coming across towards each other. In a way, it's a different way of doing it. Yeah, but like I say, this is one I really like. I wonder if that's, yeah. I don't think I'll risk taking it off without the securing strip. There you go. So that's your next X line. So now I'm going to show you an X line, which is it an X line? It's obviously called a bow. Well, that's what I called it. Because that's what I use it for, as a bow. Nearly always, not always. And you can make lots of sizes, but I'm going to show you how to make this one because it will be nice and clear, hopefully. So I'm using the same comb as always. Well, I say always. For the purposes of this particular tutorial, I always use that one, but I do use lots of different combs actually. And I've made a loop in the end of a 3mm wide strip. Could be 2 if you're going to make a smaller bow, 2mm, it's all up to you. This one does not require a securing strip either in the normal sense of the word. So all I'm going to do to start it off is put this loop over prong 8 down here. How do I describe that? It's just 8 from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you don't have numbers there, you're probably going to need to count. And my strip is gone down the back, and now I'm going to go up and over the front, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there just to make sure it stays safe. So that strip's going to go over there, it'll be a cross over there, and then I'm going to go through gap, over prong 18. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't use the full comb. It's because the comb has got 19 prongs and it's got 18 gaps. Whenever you make a bow, you absolutely have to have a middle gap. So therefore, you need to be able to find the central one. If you've got an even number of gaps, there won't be a middle one. So this one going through there will give me a central place for the middle of my bow there. Okay, so I'm going to come down the back across here, and then I'm going to go under prong 3 on the right. See that? Again, different prongs if you're making a different kind of bow, but we're going to stick with this one at the moment, under prong 3 to the front. We'll then go over prong 16 on the left, so that it's looking the same here as the top. Under prong, I'm on the back, so under prong, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, under prong 5 on the right to the front, and over prong, that prong on the left, I believe, which is not having my hand behind. I'll have to put my hand behind for a while, but I'll show you what I'm doing. There we go. So that's over prong 14, isn't it, on the left, for those of you who've got numbers. You see it's going symmetrically along here and here. I'm going to stop there for the moment, just to show you that I've done a half a bow, which can be quite useful. You can make half bows that look quite good. Like for example this one, I'm sorry it's red on the red background, but I think you can see what's going on. So you can just stop at that and make this sort of really unusual half a bow, but we're going to carry on and finish it off as a full bow like this one. So I now have to having done half my bow, I now have to, making it symmetrical, I now have to come to here or there in order to crisscross and make it a symmetrical bow. I don't really like doing that because you can see that that's not sort of looking like these are, and I don't like doing this and coming down to that one here to match that one, because you can see behind that it's not really behaving like a bow. So what I do, eventually I've decided to do it this way. I'll go to the back and put a little glue here in the middle of the back, and then I'm going to cross onto it like so. And then, having secured it here, and it's looking the same, I can then fold it, literally fold it up to finish the bow. So this is where, sorry, that's where I'm going to go to now. Up over the top there, that was the back. I'm literally folding up over there, and then down to here. Okay, so that I'm matching this one at that side. I've now run out of strip. I often run out of strip because I actually only like to work with fairly short ones, just because they get taffled easily, as you will have seen during this tutorial. So I usually try to keep my things short, but I don't worry about it. I'd rather work with shorter lengths because they're easier. And so all I do is, if I've run out of strip, is I go to the back and I'll glue down this one and add another strip from my pack, which is the same colour, hopefully. In this case I'm only going to use a half one because I'm fairly sure that will finish it off. And then add another one on the back to where I was going before. Fairly easily done, so that stays safe. And to finish it off, this one has to match that one, of course. So we're coming over there, diagonally across again, underneath this one, in order to match that one. I'm sure you're aware that I could have used a lot more prongs. I could have kept on coming down to make a wider, fatter bow. And in fact on this one I think there are, there's the top one and 1, 2, 3, and here I've got the top one only 2. It depends. Do you want a tall thin bow? Do you want a short fat bow? Use as many prongs as you like. But we have to have a central gap, because when you finish the bow to your liking, you then have to make the knot that goes across the bow. So I'm coming through that gap that's just above prong 9 to make the knot for this bow. So I was on the back up to the front through that very middle gap, and make your knot like so. Onto the back, excuse me, tear it off and glue down, or some of you I know like to glue down and then tear or cut off. That's all up to you. The back doesn't show anyway, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so that's my bow. I think I'm probably off okay now. And like I say, you can make lots of different ones. You can make them even bigger. This was made with 5mm wide paper. You can make little ones, different strip at the beginning, and tiny ones. You can make them out of paper that's been crimped, if you like. So there are, again, various ways of making bows. You may even find a different set while you are experimenting, and I do hope that you will experiment. Those are bows. So it's quite possible that you would want to make X lines that are longer, and longer than your comb is. So I mean, you could get someone to make you an extra long comb, or find an extra long comb. that works, but if in the absence of that, if you've only got a comb this length, there is a way to continue down and make it as long as you like. So what I've done here is I'm coming down with these diagonals, and I've reached the bottom of my securing strip. I'm using wider strips to show you clearly what's going on here. So I'll get to the bottom, and I can't go any further because I've run out of comb, and I've put an extra securing strip on the back just to be absolutely sure everything will be safe there. And then I'm hopefully going to take this off, and I'm going to put it back 3 prongs down so it was at the bottom, and now I'm going to put it back at the top. 3 prongs are now going to go up there. I can now add my an extra bit of securing strip here, with a torn end in the hope that it gets covered up with the actual X line. I can then finish it off by coming back up here. No, I didn't glue. I didn't wait long enough, did I? Wait for your glue to dry. Give it a good press. Let's hope it stays there this time. And then up the back to make it, give it its extra length. And glue down and tear off, or tear off and glue down, whichever you want to do. You've now got extra line to finish and do more of what you were doing before. I can now continue with my diagonal lines along here, right to the bottom, and then whatever X line I'm making, I can finish it off, or I could even add more and keep on going down. So, you know, I think, like I said at the beginning, X lines are things, there's an endless number of ones that you can create just by doing something different. And I hope that you are going to experiment and do lots of different things with them. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake. Half of my experiments end up in the bin. It doesn't matter. You've lost nothing, and you've had all that fun of finding out what's going to work. And often you'll come across something really good and thoroughly enjoy it. So there are lots of things that I haven't shown you yet. I'm particularly fond of this one, which I think will be in a Quilling Guild QT. But I also, whenever I'm doing these ones on things on a comb, I like to also finish them with things on a comb as well. So these are normal sproyers, which is a whole other tutorial. We'll do a tutorial on sproyers, which is what these are. I think the whole thing just looks better. I don't know if you've noticed as well that when you do things like this, X lines and sproyers and things, they are much more likely to go through the post. So if you're making a Christmas card and you want it to go through the post, it won't matter. It won't get spoiled in the post because it's already flat. You already see the flat side of your work. So I am particularly fond of candles and some different techniques here. So there's another one. This is a variation on the normal X's. Here's another one, and that's a bit of a variation on the one we made earlier on. I think I showed you this one before, and you can see I've actually used a bow, a little tiny bow here, to be the top part of this tree, and I've made my X's in a different way here. Also made the tub and the star actually on a comb as well, just to sort of make the whole thing be the same and that will also probably go in the post. The same thing with this Santa, and Don't X lines make a lovely border, so that's a thing that you can use them for all the time, not only with more comb work but also normal quilling. It makes a fabulous border, and my Santa is mainly made on a comb as well, just the odd thing that's not. But you know, I've had lots and lots of fun doing these things, and I hope that you will also follow suit and do some wonderful stuff too. And I'm sure if you did, then the Quilling Guild would love to see your fabulous work.